Hey, it's Romy. Thank you for tuning into my channel. If you're new, then welcome, and if you're returning, then thank you so much. This is the February 2020 reading for the sign of Cancer. So if you have a Cancer sun, rising, or moon, it may resonate for you. It is a general reading though. So if you'd like to support my work, you can find a link to the extended version of the reading in the description box below. You can also find me on Facebook, Instagram, at my website romywyser.com, and also on my membership group via Patreon. So I'd love to connect with you there also. Let's go ahead and see what's coming out in February for you, Cancer.
Okay, Cancer, so we're going to open up your reading with two cards. The first is your guide card for the month ahead. From the Major Arcana, it's the card of the Magician. The second card is your gift card, which is purification. I'm working with the idea of this guide and gift in personal intuitive readings, the soul journey and journey to love. You can find more details on my website. But as we look at these energies in the context of your month ahead, Cancer, what the Magician is guiding you towards is the discovery, the revelation, if you like, of seeing things from a completely different perspective and almost without any kind of distortion. And I think that's quite interesting, bearing in mind that we're set to move into a month of Mercury retrograde, shadow beginning from the 2nd and the actual retrograde starting on the 17th. But the Magician steps forward with a discovery energy, one that is asking you to make adjustments, coming in as a powerful manifester and helping you to make the choices that are going to be right based on what you have just been through. And let's be clear, that eclipse season will have shown you where there is need to make adjustments in your world. And this kind of coming into your own, almost like a really clear-minded, independent kind of autonomy that the Magician is affording you through this month of February, is helping you to not get too swept up in the deep oceanic waves of that Mercury retrograde in Pisces. So I really like that he's going to be kind of holding you steady and helping you really begin and initiate like a new phase, ruled by Mercury, of course. So we have the synergy here. You're working with that air elemental energy, but deep in the emotional landscape as it moves through Pisces. So your gift card of purification, really helping with the cleansing and the clearing. And again, this sort of really thinking about it along the lines of the big clear up after that eclipse, after that conjunction. So where has it hit in your life? You know, right now in Aquarius season, we're in 8th house for you. So you're doing some of that deeper subconscious work anyway right now, Cancer. But I love this card. Look at the vibrancy of it. You know, this beautiful sunflower standing tall, unapologetic is what I want to say. And that's the kind of energy that I have for you through this month of February. You are absolutely determined to make the changes that you need in order to support your well-being, and you have the power to be able to manifest those changes. This lovely link into the yellow of the sunflower for me, talking to me about your solar plexus energy, that sense of empowerment where you can draw energy back towards you and make the necessary release and overhaul, I want to say, in any thinking that has led you to believe that you can't have what you want, that you're not able to bring about the changes in your world. So I really love these cards to open up your reading. Let's go ahead and see what comes up in your main spread. So the 7th of February, we see Venus moving into the sign of Aries, your 10th house, right? All about career, how you want to leave a legacy, what you see from a reputational perspective. And, you know, Venus is about how we love, what we love. So I think for many of you with a focus on work and career, what you're going to find through this month of February is that unless it really lights you up, unless there's really a heart energy coming forth from you, you're not going to have the energy and the motivation and the desire to really power forward with things. So that Venus in Aries placement for me is nice and bold. It's ambitious. It's also quite playful. And if you allow yourself to have this clearing energy come through and you tap into that guidance of the Magician, what do we have to open your reading? Beautiful energy, Ace of Pentacles, giving you a fresh start, giving you a clean slate. And remember, in retrograde, we have the opportunity to revisit, to reset. And so I think for many of you, you will be reviewing and going back over, perhaps the strategies that you put in place, or, looking at what you now want to consider launching in that beautiful spring energy that we'll move into. And in that kind of deep dive time, the question that you're going to be asked is, do I really believe in this? Is my heart really aligned to it? Am I just going through the motions? Or is this really an extension of me? So I think it's all going to be about the heart. And that is what is going to help drive forward that sense of inspiration. Beautiful energy to open up the reading with. If we look at that placement of Venus in Aries from a relationship perspective, it can be quite playful and quite flirtatious. And Ace of Pentacles to me talks about new friendships forming, new connections coming in, because of your willingness to make adjustments and changes in your world. So perhaps you have to step outside of the confines that have perhaps been around you for some time. King of Cups energy coming in. This could be representative of you, Cancer, or another water sign in your life. But who is this person that I feel is on your mind, and you are, I want to say, in an energy of assessment. That's what I feel with the King of Cups. There's almost an assessment of, is this right for me? Does this work for me? Do I want to align with this person? Do we make a good team? Do we make a good partnership? Remember, you're still dealing with a lot of Capricorn energy and those outer planets, which is in your 7th house of partnership. We also have Mars moving into Capricorn on the 16th of the month. And so I think that assessment that's going on within you, it has to come from a place of absolute honesty, okay? And you will make the decision of whether you want to move forward with what's on the table or what's been presented to you. All this yellow kind of bursting out for me, though, bodes well in terms of you inviting in more vitality, more energy, more abundance. On the 9th, we've got a full moon in Leo, activating your 2nd house, so all about self-worth. Okay, we have 2 of Cups coming in, so again, talking to me about relationships, partnerships, but also with yourself, Cancer. And here's where I see the adjustments that have been taking place. Because you are now seeing things from a completely different vantage point, without distortion, even through that retrograde, even where we have that slight haze and confusion, I actually think it's helping to give you crystal clear clarity on who you are at this point, how you need to honor your growth, and giving you a sense of almost focus and attentiveness to what really matters. That's going to help you in the relationships in your life through the month of February. So if you are looking to get something back on track, if you are wanting to solidify or see a commitment step forward, then these energies are very supportive of that, on the proviso that what you have identified that needs to change, you actually implement. That's what's going to make the difference. Otherwise, there's that danger of slipping back into the old dynamic. But that full moon in Leo is really going to illuminate for you, I feel, what your sense of value is and how you want that to be represented. First of all, in your work, in your business, in the way that you are connecting with all of the key relationships in your life, but also in those romantic situations. Okay, Queen of Wands energy. I love this for you. Very vibrant, powerful manifesting energy. Bringing a lot of warmth into this reading as well. But you know what I love about this is, for me, this feels like warmth that you're directing towards yourself first and foremost. And I think that you need that. This is a time through this month of February, Cancer, where you're really giving yourself permission to be full of praise, full of pride of how you have handled different situations, of how you have changed, of your ability to find the levels of resiliency where you've needed them, to be able to contain where you've had to, frustration at the way that certain circumstances and events have unfolded. But now it sees you coming out on top. It sees you in a placement where you have so much going for you, and I think that you are now really recognizing that. All this green and gold, again, very positive vibrational frequency in terms of bringing in more security and abundance and creative energies to help you kickstart this kind of new phase. And I think that your observation skills are absolutely on point in this month of February. I think your intuitive senses are going to be very clear, and what you say in terms of this is what's right for me, I think people really need to listen to, because it's coming from a place of deep experience and wisdom. But I love this Queen of Wands energy as it represents your motivation to get going and to start the implementation of some of the ideas and inspirations and thoughts that you've had about what you can do better, how you want to show up differently. And that's going to have a very quick turnaround for you. So even though in that retrograde time, it's not always the best time to launch or to begin, I think that the review and the kind of readying and the preparing of your energy to step out into that March energy and that springtime, full into Pisces season, into your 9th visionary house, I think that's going to be a really wonderful, powerful, strong time for you. If you have a fire sign in your life at the moment, Sagittarius, Leo, or Aries, again, I feel like perhaps there is some clearing, some conversation that needs to happen to clear the air, perhaps. I do think that we are given the opportunity for you through this month of February to, again, clear out, okay? I quite like the emergence of the Tower in your reading, because there's such mental clarity and focus I have coming through for you with that guide card of the Magician, that he needs a clear deck. He needs to be able to operate at a higher level than you ever have before from an energy perspective. And so you don't have the time to dip back into like old toxic energies. And so there is this desire to just say, do you know what? If something is going to stay, then it has to transform. And if it's not going to stay, then it has to go, and it has to be cleared, and it has to be cleared now. And, I think the universe is supportive of that for you, because it's, about this readiness to really step into a new energy cycle. So let that Tower come in and clear out what it needs to. And again, I think where we pick up this clearing of energy, perhaps with somebody, could be this water sign, could be the fire sign. But I think that what is needed is an honest, truthful assessment of what happened and why. Not so that you can go back in and keep digging stuff up from the past, because we're in new energy, but just allow the purification to happen. Allow the forgiveness, not even necessarily toward that individual if you don't feel it at this moment in time, but toward yourself for being held up in a situation that perhaps wasn't really serving you as positively as it could. And maybe you stayed in that situation for too long, or maybe you knew the adjustments that you needed to make, and it's just taken its time for you to come into the right headspace to be able to go, okay, now I'm ready. So for me, wonderful. Now the Tower energy comes in to clear out the old, to invite in the wheel, bringing with it new blessings, new opportunities. And of course, the wheel connected into Jupiter, moving through Capricorn in 2020, in your 7th house of partnerships, in your 7th house of coming together, of bonding, of wanting to establish healthier, more nurturing, more illuminating, more open and transformative connections that really allow you to explore yourself and your life in new ways. So I love the emergence of that coming in, bringing in blessings, and I want you to be very clear that when these new opportunities and inspirations drop in for you, and you know what, they could be like a lightning bolt. That tower energy for me sometimes brings in a really powerful epiphany. You need to act on that when you feel really compelled to do so. And okay, through retrograde season, you know, there might be a kind of a slight obstacle or resistant energy. But you know what? I think that the inspiration that comes through, you can trust wholly. Okay, Seven of Swords coming through. For me, this is about the trust transforming, okay? Trust transforming in your life. Why? Because you now see things from a completely different perspective, because you're not the same person that you were. And in this acknowledgement, you will, one, not tolerate the same kind of crap, frankly, that you may have had to put up with from different people or situations in your life. And two, you just see more for yourself. That full moon in Leo, second house of value. And it's a beautiful placement with that full moon in Leo. It's trining Mars, so it's strong, it's compassionate, but it's not taking any prisoners. And this is where I feel like you're not really going to tolerate this kind of an energy. But your guides are also saying that means you can't tolerate it in yourself either. You know, you can't decide you're going to make these adjustments, know what you have to do, and then try to skip a few steps or find a shortcut. This isn't the time to find a shortcut. This is the time to do it right and to build proper, new, powerful foundations of deciding where you're going to invest your time, your love, your energy, your ideas, in a way that's really going to represent the worthiness of who you are and what you have to offer to the world. So for me, even though you may be coming up against some uncertainty or issues of trust connected into someone that the Queen of Wands may represent in your life, and perhaps there has been some upset, disagreement, you know, or change that's taken place through eclipse season, but do the deeper work in this 8th house of Aquarius right now for you. You know, see where you need to cleanse and clear and release any old attachments to what trust is bringing up for you. 9 of Pentacles energy, I think, is really interesting in this month of February, because I just see you, even though I think there's set to be a lot of communication, an awful lot of an opportunity to discuss, to plan, to strategize with others, ultimately, I have you feeling quite in need of time for yourself to really figure out what your way forward is. And I think that you need to be quite strong about that in terms of the boundary that you put in place, because for me this is about you establishing a new level of self-reliance where you're deciding where you want to align your energy and where you want to focus, but you have to establish new levels of trust within yourself and the direction that you're moving in first and foremost. I mean, of course it bodes incredibly well in terms of anything that you're doing around business, around the ideas that you get to improve your financial status. You know, I love the 9 of Pentacles for that really rich, creative, entrepreneurial spirit that comes forward. She also stands quite independently, so it may mean that for some of you that have gone through some crisis with regards to relationships, there is a sort of time out period that needs to take place through this month of February. But it's going to be really rich and fortuitous for you to allow that time to pass, because that's when we get all of the clearing energy. And then you give the opportunity for the universe to start opening new doors for you or allowing you to see things differently. I think she's really listening right now. I just want to say, make sure you're listening to the right people. Be careful where you are placing your trust in terms of what's right for you is what I want to say. I don't know. I think maybe some of you might come up against a well-meaning individual who thinks they know what is best for you. But I think you're going to feel that it's off. And you need to trust that, Cancer. Okay, I'm just getting a little note about that. You need to trust that if somebody's trying to push you or direct you down a certain course of actions and it doesn't feel like the right timing quite yet, don't be pushed. Don't be pushed. I think you're going to absolutely know who this person is when it surfaces. But for me, 8 of Cups, interesting. I think what we're really doing right now is moving away from the old way of doing things. We're moving away from the old way of doing things. And you know, there might even be like a sense of disappointment in that, which would feel a bit odd, right? Because you would think, if I know that this hasn't worked for me, I can't wait to get out of that situation or to move away from that job or to get out of that relationship. And then it happens and you're like, find yourself kind of wanting to just put everything back together in the way that it was, because inherently change can be uncomfortable and difficult, and sometimes it's better the devil you know. So even though something might not have been perfect, you know, you might still want to kind of crave that safety of what it represented to you. But the Tower energy has cleared it out and there really isn't any going back. So for a moment, you may feel through this month of February a little bit lost, a little bit ungrounded, and unsure about whether some of the ideas, the inspirations, the way that you feel directed is actually right, as you bump up against the fact that, you know, there's no more safe havens. The emotional crutches you had in place are no longer there. And particularly if you do come up against somebody with well-meaning advice that's trying to direct you in a different way, and you're thinking, I can't even move in that direction. There's nothing there that offers me anything that feels good anymore. So that 8 of Cups is, I feel, a bit of an emotional journey that we're taking. But it is, remember, overall a month that's going to be incredibly cathartic for you. So whatever it is that you're needing to leave behind, and I think honestly it's about the old version of you that accepted, put up with, acquiesced, to a situation, a person, a set of circumstances, and you're not willing to do it anymore. And that's something to celebrate. But you're still allowed to feel a sense of loss or a sense of emotional mourning as you go through that. So we have the card of motion for your oracle. And this, for me, is about the forward motion. You know, we're going to be moving into this very deeply melodic, kind of watery energy when Mercury goes retrograde in Pisces. And I think that you're not going to lose yourself in this, but there will be times that you'll feel like, I don't want to swim so hard anymore. I just want to let the current carry me for a while. And there's something about this card telling me that I need some rest time, I need some rejuvenation, I need some downtime. So make sure that you're taking that for yourself through this month of February as you're coming to some of these powerful new conclusions about what changes you're going to be making. Because it's almost like your soul needs to kind of recalibrate all of this new energy that we're moving into. The motion is positive though. It's forward motion. It's the wheel energy. You know, it's what's going to be bringing in the blessings for you. The end of a tough cycle approaches. Beautiful. So what we see is really a reflection of what's depicted here with the Tower and the Wheel. That after a time of upheaval, of chaos, of where things felt like they were precarious or not secure, you didn't feel solid in a relationship, you didn't feel secure in a business environment or in your job or in a family setup, where you've struggled against an addiction, where you've found repeated patterns showing up, where finances have been really tough. you know, because of what you've learned, because of what you've been through, because of your willingness to allow this purification to come through, new growth can happen. This wonderful, vibrant energy can be brought in with that energy of the wheel. And you're reminded, because of the placement of all these outer planets in Capricorn right now, and Mars moving into Capricorn on the 16th, that all of this has served a purpose. You know, it has been here to help you become a better version of yourself and invite in better relationships, better opportunities that are more worthy of who you are, and offering you a future that's more in alignment with what your heart is asking for. Cancer, I hope this has given you some insight for your month ahead. Thank you so much. Drop me a comment and a like if it has resonated for you. If you would like to join me, I am going to go ahead and pull us some clarifying cards for the extended reading. The extended is another 20 minutes or so. You can find the link in the description box below, which will take you to my website. It's $8 to purchase the extended, and it's a way to support my channel. So let's go ahead and see what's coming out with Ace of Pentacles energy. Again, another magician. I think you are in a really powerful placement through this month to look at what you already have around you and make it even better. Invite in some new possibilities and be a bit experimental. Okay, we have the Sun energy, beautiful, coming in with that King of Cups. So if this is representative of you, I think it's because you're just really coming into a place of alignment with what it is that you want. So for many of you, you are going to have that moment of realization, and with it, the wherewithal to make some decisions on what to happen. Five of Swords, we're clearing out this energy of this headache, this disappointment, this setback. This is what I think. Where have you had a setback? That's what we were about to move beyond. Okay, Two of Cups energy is bringing through Three of Pentacles. Six of Wands. Okay, new foundations and victory in a situation is coming forward where egos are moved out of the way. Knight of Wands. Is this a fire sign that we're dealing with? And you may be finding that you're really bumping up against somebody's ego really strongly right now. That doesn't mean you have to meet them at that point though. You can choose to vibrate higher, come from a loving place, a heart place. Six of Cups with that Queen of Wands. Perhaps someone from the past returning in that Mercury retrograde. Page of Pentacles, offering you something, an opportunity, an invitation somewhere. Perhaps it's an earth sign. We'll look into that in the extended a bit more for you. King of Wands again with the Tower. Okay. Ace of Swords. Some truth to come out actually with that Tower energy and that clearing. So whoever represents that King of Wands for you. And I think we're probably looking in and around that full moon in Leo as well, with that fire full moon. Nine of Swords. Okay, there's some anxiousness to deal with, I think, as those conversations or those conclusions are arriving. But the Wheel brings in the Fool. Beautiful. Seven of Swords bringing in Strength cards. So it could well be a Leo energy that we're dealing with, but also just the way you're handling things. Nine of Pentacles again, very self-reliant. I don't see you asking for help this month, Cancer. I think you've just got it all going on. You know what you need to do. And, you know, it's not a straightforward journey, but I feel you are ready for it. Seven of Cups, choices to come. Hierophant. Lovely. Could be a Taurus energy in the mix here. Eight of Cups, Seven of Swords again. This is what I mean. You're moving away from anything that has brought you issues of trust, you know, where guilt has been put at your doorstep. Oh, dropping cards here. Four of Pentacles. Let's just pull two more here for the Oracle cards. Ace of Cups, beautiful. new beginnings coming in here. And 10 of Wands, absolutely. End of a tough cycle with the 10 of Wands. On the bottom of the deck, King of Cups again. Okay, Cancer, if you'd like to join me, I really look forward to going more in depth to what these clarifying cards are showing us. Otherwise, I'll speak to you next month. Thanks again for tuning in. Bye for now.